Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome. Today is Thursday. It is February 16th, 2023. My name's Jeremy. This is my first cup. Let's take that tea bag out. Drinking out of the Martial Arts Radio mug because it's Thursday, which means there's another episode of Martial Arts Radio. We'll talk about that briefly, and we'll see what happened with you guys today. Happened with you guys yesterday, talk about what's going to happen today. I am clearly not awake and having a little bit of difficulty transitioning back into my normal life after being away for a couple weeks. But I'm getting there. Let's start off with who is here. I want to say good morning to Stacy, Dennis, Jared, Mark, Tommy, Chris, Rebecca, and all the rest of you out there, no matter how you are enjoying this show. You could be watching it now. You could be watching it later. You could be listening to it at some point into the future. Doesn't matter to me. As long as you enjoy it, that's all that I care about. Let's start with yesterday. What happened yesterday? Tell me about your Wednesday. Drop it in the chat. Tell me the highlights. Tell me the things. What were the happenings? I finished up the show and took a look at my schedule and said, you know what? I'm going to do something I never do. I went back to bed for hours. I got up at 10. And I needed it. I was exhausted. I'm still tired. While I was away, I did not sleep well. I think most of you know that. If you were watching the show while I was gone. Was not sleeping well. And slept for a few hours. I even took a 20-minute nap at one point later. Just really trying to catch up on sleep. And almost there. When I went to bed, I felt pretty good about how rested I was, which I know is a weird thing to feel at the time of going to bed, but definitely could have slept later today. And who knows? Maybe I will. Well, I won't be able to take naps today. Tomorrow, maybe. Today, what are we doing today? Meeting with a couple members of the team. Andrew and I are recording a few Thursday episodes. I have to record an intro and an outro, or I should say I get to, for a project we've been working on for a long time, and I'm really excited that it's finally going to come out. We did something a little bit different, something we don't normally do, and it was super fun. And you'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you see it, because it's unlike anything we've ever done. It will release as a Martial Arts Radio episode in the future. Stacy says, I was at the State House for Suicide Prevention Advocacy work with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. That's awesome. Tommy taught 3 classes last night, had 2 new students. Something the dogs in the warm day. I tanned the dogs. You tanned the dogs? I don't quite get that. Either I'm not getting it or there's a typo there. What else did I do yesterday? Went to the gym. I packed up 9 orders. 9 orders. We had 9 sparring gear orders come in while I was gone. And, you know, one of the things that drove me nuts, and I spent probably 20 minutes dealing with this. Somebody ordered something that I know was there. I can't find it. Which means I really do have to spend some time organizing the upstairs. And I will. Problem is it's cold and it's unheated. There's a furnace in there, but there's no propane for it right now. And this late in winter, I don't know if I'm going to get propane for it. I don't think I will, because it's not like I'm up there very often. And it's not like I'm doing 9 orders at a time typically. But yeah, it's kind of messy and I need to deal with it. Tommy ran the dogs in the warm day. Got it. That makes way more sense. Good morning to you, Gad. Good morning, Jenny. Yeah. Yeah, those are finished those until later in the day, and the post office was closed, so I did not bring them to the post office. I will bring those today. What else did we do? Had a call with a client. Did the books. It was really just those 2 big things, dealing with the financial stuff, which, as you might imagine, this time of year with taxes, a little more complicated, and packed a lot of boxes. Rebecca says, my amazing parents came over to help me clean my house yesterday. Due to my mental health, cleaning is a struggle. I'm so fortunate to have such generous parents. Later, I went to my Yoshitsune Jiu-Jitsu class and had a great time. I am glad to hear both of those things. Jenny says, happy Hop Kick Day. Oh, is that the episode that's out? Great. Awesome. Then I know what we're talking about. And let me just double check that it's out. And nope, that's not that. And we'll go over here. And then we'll go here. There's some really cool stuff coming on Martial Arts Radio. I really hope you guys enjoy the stuff that we're doing. We're constantly looking, how do we change and expand and all that. Episode 789. Who is Master Hopkick? Who is Master Hopkick? Right? And this is the second ever episode that I was not part of. I had nothing to do with it. I wasn't on it. I didn't edit it. I didn't record it. I didn't touch it. I didn't do anything. Great. I love that. I love that there are episodes that now I get to listen to kind of in the same way that all of you do. So that episode is, I don't know if Jenny wants to summarize it, but it's on YouTube. It'll be in your audio feed. And really, it's about the evolution, the birth, the evolution of this character, Master Hopkick, and the books that are coming from it, and the expanding universe of Master Hopkick, which is our effort to bring martial arts principles and stories and ethics to the youth. And Jenny Siu is the author, and there's just a whole bunch of cool stuff going on with it. And I'm really, really proud and impressed. Oh, interesting. Tommy says, thank you, Tommy. I added watching, quote, Martial Arts Radio to strongly recommended for sash and belt testing. Chris says it was a lot of fun. I'm glad to hear that. Oh, and Jenny says, you said everything that needs to be said. Well, good. Oh, Gad, I'm not going to read that one, but that's a good joke. I have plants I need to put away. There's just looking around. There's just so much going on. And I'm going away this weekend. I'm going to go do some filming with some folks. Need some B-roll for a project. And there's a video, I guess we'll call it a couple of videos for Kick Clinic that people have been asking for explanatory videos. So we'll work those in. Jenny says, it's a great behind the scenes look at how the HKU, Hopkick universe, I love it, was created. That's so fun. Good morning to you, Kelly. So like today, I have called with 2 clients. One of my newer clients who I actually really enjoy as a client. It's someone who has nothing to do with martial arts. And that's not a bad thing. I like the variety, but this is someone who, and this is also someone who is not local, which makes me feel like I'm moving up. And then I've got a call that I'm pretty sure this is going to happen. This is somebody that actually worked at the co-working space that I was at when I was in Mexico. And he's a real estate guy. And he's said, hey, what do you do? And we had several conversations from there, and I can definitely help him. He doesn't know what he's doing. He has no idea what he's doing. He's really good at the part that he does. Good morning to you, Josh. Cat says I'm trademarking this joke. Dennis says to Tommy, in response about martial arts radio being recommended, Dennis says the martial artist handbook was required reading for all my black belts, which was one of the best honors that anybody could give to that book. Give to me via that book. There we go. I don't think I'm doing much tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to really focusing on these things that matter today. And then I'll get a bunch of like small task work done. I'll do some tonight, stop off at Panera and probably do an hour, and then more tomorrow. There's something, and I'm going to be really honest with you guys, because this is something that is starting to become abundantly clear. I can't work in this house. I can't do all the things that I do. Now, that doesn't mean that changes overnight, because it can't change overnight. But having worked from this space for so long, I'm not productive here, not in the same way. I can drive, and here's the proof for me. I could drive an hour away and sit down and work for 2 hours and get more done than if I'd stayed here and worked the entire time. I mean, I've got all these little hacks and tricks that make me productive, but there's something about the space, and I think I want home to just be home. That was something else that was really interesting about having an office space when I was away, was how productive I was. And the quality of my work was better. Even on the plane, I did better work. I'm not distracted by my plants and laundry and dishes. So what do I do with that? I don't know yet. But I'm spending some time thinking about it. I'm looking at what that's going to mean. And we'll figure it out. Stacy says, tomorrow sounds like a good day to hunker in tomorrow weather-wise. Wow, it's tomorrow. It's 40 degrees right now. Looks like it's going to snow. How much? How much snow? %40 chance. Doesn't look like it's going to be much. At least what's coming through on my end. So we will find out. Snow and ice predicted. Well, it is Vermont. It is. It's Vermont. I have to say that, and this is something, and you can take, this is probably the last thing I'll say, and then we'll start shifting over to stuff Frank said. When I was a kid, we had snowstorms that were so bad in Maine. How bad were they? That school would be closed for multiple days in a row. And it just, you did what you had to do. And then I noticed, because some of you may have noticed this too, and I found it really odd. When, it was one thing when hurricanes were named, but then storms started getting named. Not even hurricanes, just, a snowstorm or a bad rainstorm. And I've noticed in that time, specifically from that time, that people have become much more averse to traveling in the weather, traveling in the snow, traveling in the rain. When I was a kid, if you had to get somewhere, you drove. We have much better cars, much better technology to keep cars safe in bad weather, better tires. It's all better now. But I really feel like a lot of people, and Stacey, I'm not picking on you. This is something I think about. There are a lot of people who I think pay too much attention to the weather and, It's going to be a bad storm. I need to cancel life. Be wary of letting other people tell you how to respond. That advice may be applicable to things beyond the weather. Good morning, Andy. Gad says, I'm going back to the office at my new job after working from home for the past 3 years. Really looking forward to making home again. I get that. All right. So Frank sent stuff. Where is it? Shout out. Thank you to Frank for all of his work. Thank you to Josh for our wonderful theme song. And thank you to Denise for the audio. Oh, here's a name most of you are going to know. Maybe not quite all. From Rosa Parks. Each person must live their life as a model for others. That's something I think we've all gotten away from tremendously. The amount of selfishness that I see, even in the martial arts. It's gross. One of the tests that I use, I don't do this anymore. I have better tests that I use. But when I was younger, one of the easy mental exercises I would use as to whether or not I should do something was, what would happen if everyone did this? It became really clear. What if everyone did a bunch of training? Yeah, world would get better. What if everyone stole candy? Well, that's clearly not going to be a good thing. Candy would probably go away. Not that I eat much candy. Anyway, the cliche of a kid stealing a candy bar. If the actions you take don't make the world better when everyone does them, it's probably not something we should do. It's probably a bad model for the rest of the world. And I think so often when we think about modeling behavior, we think like it has to be big and dramatic, and it doesn't. It can be quiet. It can be reserved. It can be subtle. The behavior that we model should just be us living our lives. We don't have to aim to change the world with everything that we do. And the irony is, if more of us simply lived by our convictions, the world would change. Number 2. What really matters is not whether we have problems, but how we go through them. We must keep going on. We must keep going on to make it through whatever we are facing. Talk about a martial arts quote. What really matters is not whether we have problems, but how we go through them. We must keep going on to make it through whatever we are facing. This is competition. This is training. This is testing. This is every martial arts film, in the last 10 minutes. We overcome. We persist. That's what we do. Because what else are we going to do? Right? Trying to form the thought. There's something that I'm thinking about with regard to testing and training and the recognition that a good martial arts training environment maybe it's not that these situations, these dramatic situations that need to be pushed through, are orchestrated, but it creates an environment where they're going to happen inevitably. And I think that's most martial arts schools. Because human nature leads to conflict at times, especially as we work through things, as we get better. And how we overcome that. Like anything else, it gets better with practice. And Tommy says the word perseverance. Yeah, for sure. I was listening to some stuff from Jim Rohn last night on the drive home from the gym. And he said something that I've heard this said before. I don't know if it's originally attributed to him. Don't wish for your challenges to go away. Wish to be better in facing those challenges. And what struck me about that was that is the heart of martial arts. I've never heard anyone say, I wish this form was easier. I'm having a hard time with this part of the form. I'm just going to have to practice it more. I'm going to have to come up with a way. I'll have to figure something out. That's what we do. That's our attitude. Kat says, you listen to Jim coming from the gym. That's true. I did. Absolutely. One more. Stand for something or you will fall for anything. Today's mighty oak is yesterday's nut that held its ground. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be persistent. 1% better. It's the heart of everything that we're doing now. Why do you think we've transitioned so many of these training programs into single emails? Here you go. Here's what you do today. Just do it. Because I know people have a hard time biting off big chunks. The other training programs that I built, they're great. Not everyone can handle going through and making the decisions on what to do. Lay it out really clearly, but the fewer excuses we can allow people to take with what we give them, the better. Why does martial arts work so well for so many of us? Because all we have to do is show up. We don't have to make any decisions other than to show up. I'm going to show up to this place. It's at this time. I don't choose what class I go to. I just go. And I just train. And I get better. I'm glad that's true. And I hope that this is true for all of you. Gad says, I really love that we get to see these quotes and discuss them so we can draw inspiration to be better martial artists and people. And this is the whole theory, right? If we go back to the early days, it was quotes from martial artists. And then Frank started to stretch out a little bit and it forced me to stretch. And I remember it was a little uncomfortable. It's like, does this work for people? I'll talk about this stuff, but this is a martial arts show. I think it works. Because to me, martial arts is not just self-defense. And I assume that is the case for you. If you're here, especially if you've been here for a while, this show is more than just directly about training. It's about martial arts and our lives and how martial arts impacts our lives, better our lives, how our lives better our martial arts training. And that's where these quotes come in. To give us discussion fodder for looking at the personal growth elements of our training. I hope you have a great day. I hope whatever you've got planned goes well. If you don't have anything planned, plan something. Could be training, could be something else. I'm just glad that you come by. It does mean a lot to me. Even if you're not here live, even if I don't see your name pop up in the chat, I'm glad you're part of this. It was something I was reflecting on earlier this morning. If you want to support us, here are the three biggies. You got Patreon, you got the discount code FIRSTCUP15, and you've got the family page, which should get updated today. Whistlekick.com/family. You got to type it in. There's no link. Excuse me. I will leave you be at this point to go on to whatever it is you're going to do. Thank you for coming by. Thank you for your support. Thanks for being part of the show. I'll see you tomorrow for Friday. Take care, everybody.